Come on. Come on. Come on. Yeah, there it is. That's how you beat the level of Super Mario World. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. It's me, Grumpy Dums. And in today's video, I have a special treat for y'all. I will be reviewing this, the SNES Classic Edition. So, I guess with that being said, let's get started. So, yeah, let me show you it. So, here it is, in all its plasticky goodness. So, little run through. The original SNES, how it worked was that you had a cartridge-based loader up here. You took a game card, you plopped it in, you pushed the power button up, and boom, the game just loaded up. It's not like modern day systems where you have to update over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like, it's just, it turned on. There was nothing stopping you. Unless the connecting pin was broken, but whatever. So yeah, it was just much more simpler at the time. And if you wanted to get your card out, you didn't just have to pull it out. There was a little eject button, I think it was this one, and you just flipped that up and it popped the card out. And it was really simple. It was like, it was easy. And I just thought, man, that was great thinking for the time. And I think also there was a reset button, and I know I just probably repeated myself. The eject button is down here, my mistake. Says eject, but it says also reset. The reset button was, again, like it says in the name, reset the game if something wasn't working. Again, pretty straightforward. But of course, on the modern time SNES Classic Edition, there is no putting a cartridge in here anymore. There's no ejecting the button. However, that is like kind of weird feeling. It's kind of rattly. I don't know why, but feels like that could have been a button, but it's not. And the power button works like it did in the original. You push up to turn on, down to turn off, and you'll see there's a little small graphic that comes on when you turn it on or off, which is kind of a nice touch. Then the reset button on this console, in this case, you just push it up and then it goes back into position like a spring. And basically, again, just it resets the console to factory default or something. I forgot. You don't really need to use it all that often. And then if you're going to ask, what are these funny looking ports? So on the original SNES, the controller had this really big port, in which case, like, think of it as your modern USB cord that you use to plug into your phone or your game controller or whatever. It's like, you know, micro USB. Well, at the time, they weren't any battery-powered charge controllers, so they were all wired. I know wired might be a little ugly, but I mean, whatever. I mean, that's what you did. You just plugged it in, and you just played. Again, it was that simple. Just you had to make sure your cat didn't play with it, or your pets. Trust me, if you have pets, be careful. And what else? Of course, Nintendo badging on the top. And around back, you got your HDMI and your power cord port. So for future reference, if for some bizarre reason you misplaced the power cord, which you really shouldn't, you can easily replace that with something like this. I know this is not a power cable, but it has the exact same connector. So you could put this on the system and then it would power it. You just need a power brick and it works with any one of them. So you don't have to worry. But I love how this is very compact, and I feel like Nintendo did a good job in terms of look-wise, getting it right to the original, while also keeping a nice small form factor. So it works pretty well in a nice little home setup. And then to go with it, of course, you need something to play the games with, and that would be controllers. Now, this console comes with, around 2. Which is a good number if you have like a friend over and you want to play one of those battle games or whatever, like, you know, Street Fighters. Yeah, it uses those 2 controllers, or you can do it by yourself and play computer. You might feel lonely, but okay. So yeah, basically it's same pattern and paint on the console. You got your purple buttons and gray. But again, this feels a lot more refined in terms of a controller. It just morphs into your hands. There's little shoulder pads above here. And like I said before, it's wired, so you can't charge this, kiddos, I'm sorry. But you can get one of those 8-bit DOE controllers, which is like those Bluetooth things, but yeah, I like this. This is pretty good. And the cable, might I just say, is, I'm sorry if I'm scooting back here, very long. What I said about your pets earlier, watch out. They can trip over this, or your parents. So if you have a crowded entertainment system, just make sure these don't get tangled. But other than that, it's pretty functional. And again, the controller feels nice, curves around your hands. I just think it's really solidly built. And of course, the start and select buttons down here, you don't really see those all that often. On PlayStation DualShocks, you get the select and options button. And on the Xbox, you get that weird box thing in those 3 lines. Don't ask, I don't get it what that means. But they just feel rubbery, and I like that. It just feels good. And also, y'all know the term button mashing? It comes from these controllers, because you can just hit these all day, and it just feels that satisfactory clicking. It's nice. It's the nice it's nice the way that they design these things. Can't speak tonight, apparently. Now, also, the other thing you gotta notice about these controllers is that, if I can get you to see it, each button looks different, in which case, well, not each one, but each row, so like this purple and this purple and this purple look the same, and this purple and this purple look the same. So these are, I think, concave or convex or whatever. Please write in the comments if I'm wrong, and tell me what the actual term means. But if you know what this is, it's basically where your finger kind of has this weird little sinking slope in the button, so like it feels more planted. As to these darker purple ones, they are more pushed outwards. So it's like the way you feel in an Xbox controller and a PlayStation controller for the purple, or the dark purple ones. But on these, they feel pretty good, and it makes sense. And also, the hand position in these things are pretty good, because you can go between Y and B. Let's say in Mario, as an example, let's say you're holding your D-pad and you're going this way. Let's say you need to run, and you know, when you run with Mario, you hold the Y button, the Y button or the X button. But let's say you need to jump at the same time. Just hold Y and just do this. It just works, and I just feel like this is a really nice, solid controller. So I feel like if for looks and for how the thing feels to use, it's pretty solidly built. But the one thing I found that was incredibly funny, and I just thought it was a little weird, was that, so how you connect the controller, might you ask? So it's using the same connector from a Wii nunchuck. For anyone who knows, the Wii nunchuck was an add-on for the Wii remote, and it was the joystick part of it. And basically used the same connecting piece. I find it a little strange, but whatever. But how do you connect it? Because these ports clearly don't match this. Well, you'd be wrong, because you pop these out and you plug them in. And again, it's the same exact ports from the Wii. Again, it's a little strange, but I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, it works. It's cute, but I mean, if I was going for real authenticity, I would get an original one, which you can pick them up. They're not that expensive, trust me. And also, if you want to just talk about weight, falls to the ground like a brick, it's pretty sturdily built. The rattling is just honestly some buttons, and that's just these things up here, because they're buttons, obviously. They're gonna rattle. Same thing goes on these. So yeah, I mean, it's really well built. Let me put it like that. It's, in my opinion, I like the look of it. I prefer the original one in Europe just because it has a little more color, but this looks pretty well. They got the look right, and it's pretty well built. So yeah, for me, I give this thing a, I'd say probably a 9 out of 10 just because of the Wii connector, but that's a solid rating in my opinion, so coming from me. So yeah, up next, I will talk about the games on here, and then I'll show you what they are. There it is. So you are immediately greeted to, sorry, I'm gonna grab my controller over here. I wanna get playing. So you immediately are greeted to this, which is just a series of games. Now in total, I think there's like 21 games. So that's a pretty decent selection in my opinion. So I want to play all these games, let's just say that. Like, I would love to play these, and I think it's just a real treat to have all these things on the system. So yeah, let's see. So these are all your game listings. It's just simple. You just hit your D-pad, you can go through them, and you cannot hit your shoulder buttons to go through it. I mean, if you like doing that, then you'd hit one of these buttons or this button or whatever to select it, or you can hit the, hang on, or you can hit the select or start button. Either way, it works like that. So then you can go up, and then you get to your display. Now the one fun thing about this is that you can change it between the one you are always selected on, which is the 4:3, but you can also go pixel perfect or CRT filter. Now for anyone who doesn't know, a CRT TV was what these things were connected to at the time, or the originals. So it basically had those weird lines that you see on the TV. And granted, those were very annoying, but I think it adds some little nostalgia. And as well as you get these cute frames of blue, green, and some other stuff. Even an old CRT TV and curtains and stuff. It's just a nice touch. Oops, no, I don't want to select it. So yeah, and then you got your option setting, and that's just basically like gameplay demo, classic demo, screen burn reduction, which I found weird because anyone who knows, if you leave something on your screen for too long, it'll burn on the screen and stay there. You'll see it. And granted, it's very annoying because once that's there, you can't get rid of it. So yeah, it's kind of funny that they have that in your system settings. And then you also got your language, which obviously you probably know what that means. English, France, Dutch, Espanol, don't know what this language is, Portuguese, Netherlands, and Italiano, which is pretty decent. And then your legal notice, which I'm not going to show that. And then the manual, which this is honestly weird. You'd have to scan this. So in my opinion, leave that alone. And then you also got suspend points. So these are for games that do not save automatically, that you just have to save them to one of these save slots. Now granted, you only get 4, and in my opinion, it's a little limiting, but whatever. So yeah, but other than that, the console is pretty smooth, and I feel like it's a good experience to use it. And also, you get this nice little thing here, the one that's highlighted, Star Fox 2, which was a sequel to this, but it was never released. So yeah, it was a nice little touch, and I just feel like, yeah, why not? So I feel like, yeah, it's good. So yeah, so that's the menu, you've seen it, and I'm hoping in other videos I will be playing some of these games for you, just to give you a little taste of nostalgia. Now, what's next? I will be talking about my highs and lows for it and what I think about it. So yeah, that's coming up next. Okay, so now we're at my thoughts of highs and lows for this beautiful work of art. That was really strange for this, but whatever. So anywho, let's start with the lows just to get that out of the way. So one of my biggest lows for it was probably the Wii nunchuck looking connector. I don't know why. To me, that just seemed a little weird. I don't think it was... I mean, I know Nintendo probably was trying to, you know, save money or something. I don't know. It was like trying to say, hey, we already have this connector, let's use it. So yeah, and I guess that worked. It's just, to me, it seems a little strange that you're taking something from a motion control console and you're putting it on a console that at the time didn't even do that. So it's like, yeah, it's a little weird, but I guess in modern day age, what are you gonna do? But to me, that just seems a little weird. And then what else? My second low is probably the price. So for any of y'all who want to know the price for these things, they go up to $80. Now, that's a little steep, but granted, you are at least paying for a quality product. So now for my highs, the highs are it looks good, feels good, controls nice, easy to use, it's very accurate to the originals, just shrunken and made it easier to use. And also, the game library, it's pretty good, and everything is functional, and that you just know what you're doing, and I just feel like it's quality for what you pay for. And if you are serious into retro games or just serious in Nintendo in general, it is a good buy. It's fun. It's something to use. And I feel like if I would like it, maybe y'all would like it. So I think, yeah, I mean, it's a very short highs and lows, but it's just all of it wraps itself neatly in a little present. And hey, it's just in time for Christmas. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video and a trip down memory lane for Nintendo. As always, like and subscribe and leave a comment down below on what your thoughts of the SNES Classic Edition is. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and as always, don't be in the dumps, stay with Grumpy Dumps. See you then.